What's up everyone, your boy Tapesh Kumar here, and this is an Airbus A320, and today I'm gonna take you on a tour of it. So let's get started. This here is the nose wheel of the aircraft, and these four lights that you see, they are the taxi light, takeoff light, and the runway turn-off lights. This nose wheel is used to steer the aircraft left and right. Moving to the back, we have the assembly for the nose wheel steering. So all these things are used to steer the nose wheel. Moving further down the aircraft.
Alright guys, so before we continue, just a quick update on the academy. So आप में से काफ़ी लोगों की भी क्लास 12 खत्म होने वाली होगी and all the best for you both. So if you've decided कि आपको क्लास 12 के बाद पायलट बनना है, if you want to pursue a career in aviation, we at Vinod Yadav Aviation Academy are very happy to help you out. So in case you guys have any doubts, any clarifications, your parents want to clarify something, feel free to call on the numbers on the screen right now or in the description box below. Also, we have a new batch starting specially for you guys from 6th of April. So if you want to become a pilot, if you want to get your aviation career started, join us.
A few antennas, ये जहाज सुसु करते हुए. And this is our engineer Sahab, who is filling fuel in our aircraft and is looking at something known as the refueling panel. Continuing further, this light you see here, that's the landing light, which is as of now retracted. So when you extend it from the cockpit, this light comes down and it illuminates the runway in front of you. Now this here is a CFM 56-5B engine. It's got 36 blades on its front rotor and it can produce up to 33,000 pounds of thrust. All these dots you see here on the engine cowling, they are all just the insects that we killed in our previous approach. So this here you see is the refueling port. So this is where the aircraft is taking in fuel from. This is the wing of the aircraft. Before we get to the wing, let's have a look at what is inside the engine from behind. तो ये हमारा इंजन एक सुट्टा मारते हुए सुबह सुबह. These doors that you see, they are basically your thrust reversal blocker doors. So moving back to the wing, these small panels that you see here, all these panels are basically access ports to get into the fuel tanks. Now this panel you see here at the back, that's basically our flaps, which are currently in the retracted position, and this here is the aileron, which is used to turn the aircraft left and right. It's there on both the wings. This green colored light here, that's our navigation light. So the right wing has a green colored navigation light, and the light that you see on the left hand side, that's the strobe light. The flashing lights that you see on the aircrafts, that's the one. This vertical structure here is known as the shocklet, and those things which are behind the shocklet, they are basically static dischargers, which discharge the static electricity into the air. These huge things that you see, which are below the wing, 4 of them there, they are basically your flap track mechanisms. That's the airline that I fly for. And this here is the right main landing gear, which has a nice shock absorber, some pretty fat tires. These here are the brakes, and these pins that you see, they are the brake wear pins. They tell you how much the brakes are worn out. The brakes on these aircrafts are basically just normal multi-disc brakes, just like the ones you have in your car, but with multiple discs. And those are just your bags being thrown into the aircraft like no one cares about them. These are your radio altimeter antennas. This here is the APU inlet door, basically from where the APU takes in air. And this thing here is your horizontal stabilizer. The rear part of it is called the elevators, and it's used to control the aircraft in pitch. So basically you move the aircraft up or down using these elevators. So that is your vertical stabilizer, and behind that is the rudder. The rudder is used to control the aircraft in yaw. So basically whenever you want to yaw the aircraft left or right, we use the rudder. So this is basically a nice view of the ass of the aircraft. That's the aircraft again doing susu. The left hand side of the aircraft is absolutely identical to the right hand side. This here is your landing gear assembly, or basically where the landing gear strut is connected to the body of the aircraft. Those are our pretty huge brakes. And that thing there is called the brake fans. It's basically used to cool down the aircraft brakes. This is the other engine, also smoking. बहुत सुट्टे मारते हैं. That's what the engine inside looks like from behind, in case you ever wondered. Now continuing on the other side, this here is the registration of the aircraft. Victor Tango, Victor November Sierra. Interesting fact, all of AirAsia's registrations are basically ITA code names for some of the other city. For example, VNS is for Varanasi. And that there is the other aileron. So this red light that you see, that's the navigation light for the left wing. So the right wing has a green light, the left wing has a red light. And that's Chindigo in the background. Sorry, Indigo I meant. So that's a side view of the engine. It's a pretty huge engine, but not the biggest. Those doors you see there, those are your thrust reverser doors. So when you deploy the thrust reversers, those doors open and they throw the air to the front. The engine blades once again. And this here in the center is the spinner. These here are our static ports. They are basically used to measure static pressure, which is used by various computers to compute things such as altitude, vertical speed, etc. That's the angle of attack sensor. That's the sensor which was malfunctioning on the 737 Maxes, which ended up crashing. And that's pretty much about it.